So, welcome to the course overview for IB Language A. Welcome back. In case you're just getting here, I'm Dexter. This will be the course for English literature, and throughout this course we will take you through everything you need to know for English literature. This is the overview for the course. So, over the next few minutes, we will provide you with a condensed glimpse into the key components of the course to ensure clarity, to prevent overload, to make the whole course a little bit more manageable. We will be doing it in smaller chunks, and which will also be the case for the overview. So we will be breaking the overview down into two shorter sections. This will be the section for both the literary devices to begin with, before then progressing into the assessment section alongside the talk and the extended essay section. So let's get to it. First section then will be the learning objectives. The first section will focus on the key objectives of the course and how this course will aim to develop your critical thinking. It will deepen your understanding. It will allow you to better textual analyze the literary works, the cultural, the historical context, and best of all, in my opinion, it will allow you to really consider those cultural, historical contexts and enhance your writing and communication skills in the process. Next, as I mentioned, we'll have the assessment and examination section, where we will consider the assessment methods employed within the course. We will consider both the internal and the external assessments, including the individual oral, where we will consider commentaries, timings, alongside what you should be expecting from written examinations, what you should be aiming for with the written examinations, and obviously the structure and requirements of both paper 1 and paper 2, which focus on literary commentary and essay writing respectively. And understanding these examining details will help you prepare better for these assessments. The assessments are designed to give an overall evaluation, which will consider comprehension, analytical abilities, communication skills, but we will provide a deeper overview of those details, which will help make the whole process a lot easier, a lot less stressful. Then we will go into the talk and the extended essay integration into the course. So we'll see how they integrate into the course. We will discuss the importance of it. They are core elements of IB, and therefore they can't be avoided, they can't be skipped. Without those, we can't get the diploma. We will consider the role of language and interpretation and opportunities for in-depth research and critical thinking throughout the extended essay. And with the talk section, talk will, as part of the course, we will integrate talk throughout, and we will address a number of questions as we go through the course, whilst also dedicating a section to talk and progressing through the talk examination, the talk essays, and how to get those and how to perfect those. Then we'll have a short conclusion, we will have a bit of an overview of the course, and then we will progress into the course. So, the overview then. First section will be the learning objectives. So we'll begin by considering the critical thinking skills, which are essential for your journey through IB and what they consider. So the first objective then, to really cultivate the ability to think critically about literary works. This is something that we do anyway. You for sure have been doing anyway. However, throughout this course, we will engage in really rigorous analysis and interpretation of text to really hone those critical thinking skills. And in the process, by questioning these assumptions, by evaluating this evidence, considering the multiple perspectives that we'll get, we will develop a more nuanced understanding of literature and everything that it encompasses. Now, critical thinking is more than just questioning. It's more than just accepting that information that we are given at face value. So in your case, rather than just accepting the information that I share with you, it's about questioning, it's about analysing and evaluating it deeply. We will learn to approach these literary works with a critical eye, where we will proceed to examine the underlying themes, the motivations of characters, the author's intentions, and so on. And by engaging in this analysis, we will uncover the numerous complexities and subtleties within the text, which will obviously enrich our interpretation and hopefully our appreciation of literature. Then we will progress into analysing the actual literary text in depth. So going beyond the critical thinking, we'll start on a journey into analysing the actual text. And through this, we will begin considering the themes in the text, motifs in the text, literary techniques, again, to gain a deeper understanding. And by unpacking these layers of meaning within a text, we'll uncover the richness of the literature, the complexity of the text that we're considering. And in order to do this, we have to go beyond skimming the text. We have to go beyond reading it, accepting it, and moving on. We have to actually go into it, where we will consider the real intricacies of the narrative structures, how the characters develop throughout the text, the symbolism that comes up in the text, and what it means, and to really examine how these elements contribute to the overall meaning of the text and the author's goals by including them. Through this reading, we will contribute hopefully to the overall meaning, and we will manage to decipher the audience's intention, the author's intentions, and to uncover the deeper messages conveyed within the text. Thirdly, we will consider the socio-political backdrop of the text, which is an area that I very much enjoy. Hopefully I can pass that on to you also. Through which we will explore how historical events influence literature, how cultural norms shape those narrative perspectives, which will allow us to contextualize to a degree literary works within those cultural historical contexts and allow us to gain insight into the broader implications of literature. Sometimes it's just about entertainment, sometimes it's about so much more. And considering this further, when we consider literature, we sometimes consider literature as just a vacuum, something that we absorb, we read, and we don't look past. But it is actually deeply intertwined with the cultural and historical context in which it is produced. Even the language, which is why IB requests that we consider both a translated text and an original English text. So in that, we will examine how societal norms, cultural values, historical events influence the themes, characters, narratives of the work, and which allow us to understand better the social political backdrop of the text and allow us to consider the ways in which literature reflects and responds to the world around us. It's not a static movement. Literature moves with the times as we progress. Literature progresses also. If you consider aspects of science fiction, for example, often as technology advances, so too does the inventions coming up in literature, the ideas progressing in literature as just an idea out there. Next part of the course, we will consider how to enhance writing and communication skills. This is obviously a massive part of the course in that we require writing for paper 1, paper 2, we require communication for the individual oral. So throughout this section, we will consider the development of writing and communication and how to really construct coherent arguments and develop those persuasive writing techniques that we have to evidence so much. Through this practice, this feedback, we will refine those writing skills, we will build more clarity, we'll be more effective in our communication, which will allow us to better hit those criteria required of IB. The communication section is essential in it's how we express ideas and our interpretations of the literature that we're reading. If we can't do that successfully, then when it comes to marking later on, we won't have achieved those top criteria. So as we practice, as we develop those skills, we will be hitting the criteria and building on the criteria so that we're getting those top marks that we require. In order to do this, we will focus on honing our skills. We'll craft clear, concise, persuasive arguments, and we'll practice effective communication in oral presentations and discussions, and better learning to articulate our thoughts and how we engage with others in this meaningful dialogue. Now, obviously, this is an online course, but that does not mean that you can't hold discussions, that you can't learn, practice those internal assessments. You can, but you'll be doing it with yourself or even in front of a computer. Listen back to it. They're all skills that we'll practice later on that will really enable us to focus and grow in that sense. The next part of the overview then is the textual analysis. Now, textual analysis is a massive part of interpreting and going through the text that we have to design. So let's go through, we will go through step by step different areas of textual analysis that we will consider. These are the biggest parts, however, we will consider many more as we go through different text types, choices, languages, and so on. The first part then is interpreting those literary works through close reading. Through this, as I mentioned earlier, we will have the skimming, and then from the skimming, we will also have to go beyond that. We'll go deeper. So we'll examine the text, we'll go through carefully, paying attention to everything in the text, every word, every detail, to really, truly analyze every piece of the text. We will engage in close reading, so we'll uncover layers of meaning and gain a deeper understanding of the text that we're reading to dissect it. We will essentially put the text under a magnifying glass to uncover all those intricacies, those nuances, everything that the author wanted to put across, and sometimes things the author didn't want to put across, we will consider. We will explore how to analyze the author's choice of words, the sentence structures, the literary devices, to unravel the deeper meanings embedded within the text. And you will really develop a keen eye for detail, for a deep appreciation of that literature. You will learn to consider a text as part of the text for the literature you will not see in advance. Thus, it's important that you can do this for yourself, look at it, address, and just have all those points pointing out at you, considering yes, no, what should I include, what did the author want, what are they getting across, all key points. Next, we will consider the narrative techniques, the literary devices. So what has been employed by the author, the techniques, the devices that really build the experience of the text we're reading to make it more than just a text, to add depth, add complexity. And by identifying and analyzing these elements, we'll gain insights into the author's craft, into the thematic resonance of the text and what the author was trying to get across. Narrative techniques and literary devices are just tools. They're tools that we can identify, they're tools that authors know, they use them much more often, but they're things that you can pick out of a text very easily if you know what they are. Often they are woven into a text, and it's up to us to consider the text at face value and then really explore more into the text, uncover them, and see what stories and messages the author is trying to convey through these tools. We will, of course, look into these techniques, among others, such as foreshadowing, imagery, irony, as well as devices like metaphors, similes, allegories. And by learning to identify and analyze these elements, we will uncover the numerous layers of meaning within different texts and gain a much deeper understanding of the themes and messages within the text. So what will we be considering throughout our textual analysis? This is a big chunk of the course, and right now we will progress through with some of the textual analysis that we'll consider, the bigger points, but there will be many others that we will address through poems, through fiction, through graphic novels that are more refined, more designed just for specific text types that we will consider alongside those text types. The bigger ones then, obviously, language use. So we will need to examine the intricate uses of language consider the syntax, the figurative language, the encompassing diction, everything to really analyze the author's choices of words, sentence structures, to uncover the nuances, the meaning, what the author is trying to put across. By looking at these with scrutiny, by really going into them, we will get a better idea of the cultural, the historical, the contextual layers that build the text that we're considering. The second part will be characterization. This is another essential aspect of the course and another essential aspect of analyzing text, where we will dive into the development of characters. Characters are often the whole story. They're the reason why we enjoy a series. They're the reason why we read one book, we want to read the next one, or the reason why we keep reading a book at all. We build a relationship with the characters. We build protagonists. We build anti-heroes and heroes. All things that make us fall in love with a book and the way it's heading, and finish and not want it to finish. And in order to do that, we have to consider the development of the characters, the motivations of the characters, what makes the characters complex, makes them get up in the morning. And by scrutinizing these characters' trajectories, their interaction, their movements, we gain insight into the condition of the characters and how their identity has been formed within the text that we're reading. A more obvious one that you're very familiar with, I'm sure, is the setting. And throughout the course, every text we have contains some form of setting, which we will consider, we will analyze. And in this, we will consider the pivotal roles played by the setting in shaping where the story takes place. We will consider the time it takes place, the area, the location, even the social cultural context influences the actions and the thematic development of the setting itself. So through this, we will uncover the direct interplay between the character, as we mentioned earlier, and the setting, which helps our understanding of the social, political, the historical forces at work, and which then leads into the next section, the narrative structure. This is the structural elements of the text. How is the text built? So in the case of a poem, the stanzas. In the case of fiction, the paragraphs. In the case of a play, the scenes. So through this course, we will consider the structural elements of the text, including the plot, the point of view, the narrative style, and again, dissecting the author's narrative choices and exploring how they impact the pacing of the text. Do they build tension? Do they build suspense? What is the coherence of the story? And by unraveling these intricacies, we'll again deepen our appreciation of the author and the way that they tell their story, the way that the story impacts us as readers. Themes is another section, of course, where we will identify and really interrogate those themes that keep on coming up throughout the literature. Themes are something that really weave in, they permeate through literary works and serve as windows into the experience of the text. They invite us to explore truths and questions, and through this thematic analysis of the text, just the analysis of the text themselves, we'll really uncover the complexities of meaning, of interpretation, recognizing that multiple perspectives can impact and better our engagement with a text. And lastly, for textual analysis, we will consider the symbolism. Symbols are sometimes very obvious, sometimes not so much. So it's up to us to unravel the symbolic language of the text, the language used by the author, and recognize the profound significance in really conveying those deeper layers of meaning. Symbols are conduits for exploring themes, emotions, concepts beyond the literal representation of expressing it directly. So by decoding this symbolism within a text, we uncover hidden truths. We kind of gain an understanding of a tapestry of text and the significance that underpins that background of everything we're reading. So that was the textual analysis section, which is incredibly important, as you're probably gaining an understanding of, to really understand, to really build, to really engage with a text. The next part of the course overview, we will consider the